do the A's, okay? What is this, third hour? Okay, now this is 6.6 and power functions. It's going to be a retake on the quiz Wednesday, right? We're having a quiz Wednesday, right, Aubrey? What day are we having a quiz? Awesome. This is also retake 5.1. Okay, so let's start 1A. I have the quantity 3x minus 1 raised to the third. What does that mean? Let me ask you this. What does 2 to the third mean?
Oh, 3 to the third is 27.
How about 2 to the third?
2 to the third, 8.
How'd you get that?
Using our
2 times 2 times 2, right? 2 times itself 3 times.
that and this.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So if I have 2 here being multiplied by itself, I'm going to take that quantity 3x minus 1, multiply it by itself 3 times, right? Okay. Now we can't multiply this all at once, which is kind of a shame because that would be nice. So we're going to take, we know how to do 2 binomials pretty easy, right? Right. It's 2 binomials being multiplied together. We'll use FOIL. So I'll have my 3x minus 1. Then I'm going to use FOIL here, right? FOIL. 3x times 3x, 9x squared. Outer. Now I'm going to do this. You guys mind if I do this outer on the side here?
No.
3x times minus 1. That's my outer minus 3x. My inner is negative 1 times 3x, or, yeah. Now, we always know that the outer and inners always combine, right? So what's my combined term? Careful, we are not multiplying, we're combining them. Good. And then my last term, positive 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Okay. Now, this is kind of a pain in the butt, but we have to take the first term here, multiply to every term in the trinomial. So 3x times 9x squared is 27x cubed. Good. 3x times negative 6x. 3x times positive 1. 3x. Okay, then we have to take the minus 1, right? It was a long time ago.
Maybe about
I think it was one of the first things we did this semester. So negative 1 times 9x squared. Now, if you remember, if you got a good grade on this last quiz, you don't need to do it again, right? Because I take the highest grade. Negative 1 times 9x squared. Negative 9x squared. Negative 1 times negative 6x. Positive 6x. Negative 1 times a positive 1. Negative 1. Yeah, for you new people that are new this semester, and there are a couple, I there's like automatic retakes on quizzes, all right? If you got a good grade on 6.6, well, you don't need to do it on the quiz Wednesday. If you're happy with the grade that you got, don't focus on it. Focus on the other stuff. Okay. All right. Let's combine like terms. So I have 27x cubed. That's the only one I have, right? Um, minus 18x squared minus 9x squared just so happens to be a minus 27x squared, right? X to the first terms,
Nine X.
9x, right? And then my lonely constant over here, minus 1. There's my answer. Now, I showed my last hour. There's when you get to this point, and I'm going to show it to you guys too. When you get a binomial times a trinomial, this gets a little cumbersome, right? Distributing the 3x, then distributing the minus 1, you got all this. There is a method that organizes this for you, and it's called the box method. So what you do is draw a box, and it's a binomial, so I need 2 rows. So here's my 2 rows for the binomial 3x minus 1. And then I have a trinomial, so I need 3 columns. My trinomial is 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. Okay. If you're used to doing it this way, it's just another way of doing it. So I'm showing you guys. Okay. 3x times 9x cubed, 9x squared is 27x cubed. 3x times negative 6x, negative 18x squared. 3x times positive 1, 3x. Negative 1 times times 9x squared is negative 9x squared. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Negative 1 times negative 6x is a positive 6x. Negative 1 times positive 1, negative 1. Then you're going to have these diagonals here, your x squared terms and your x to the first terms to combine. So here I have my 27x cubed. Negative 9x squared, negative 18x squared is your negative 27x squared. 6x, 3x is your 9x, and then your negative 1. I, I think this box method is kind of a lot easier to use than the distribution of each term. Either way, you get the same answer. Okay? Question? Did I hear a question?
Some side talking, no question.
It's hard to teach when there's side talk. All right, 2A. We have a profit function here, right? A ceramic store manufactures and sells coffee mugs. The revenue, R of X, from the sale of X amount or X number of coffee mugs is given by R of X equals 17X. So our revenue equals 17X. So that's what our sales are, right? So what do we charge for each coffee mug? That's our sales. This is the number of mugs. This is what we charge, right? So that's the price of one mug, right? $17. Okay. Suppose the function for cost of manufacturing X amount of coffee mugs is, so here's our cost function. This is what it costs to make X amount of coffee mugs. $9.25 per coffee mug, and then maybe $400 startup cost or something. So when we go to write a profit function, how do you get a profit in the old capitalistic system here?
Revenue minus cost.
Yeah, all of the money that you take in, all of your revenue, and you have to subtract out all of your cost, right? So when I say all of your cost, that means putting parentheses around your cost. So let's do it. So our profit equals, what's our revenue?
17.
17x. And what's our total cost? Remember, parentheses. Good. Plus 400. Now, we have a minus sign in front of parentheses. What do we have to do? Distribute. All right, we have to distribute that minus sign. So I have 17x minus 925x minus 400. Now we have like terms here, don't we? Let's combine those. And please feel free to use your calculators, because when we do decimals, I get all kinds of interesting answers here. Take your 17 minus 9.25. I get 7.75 x minus 400. So that's our profit function. Okay. There's our profit function. Then it says, well, what's the profit on 2,000 mugs? So our x here equals 2,000. So I'm going to take my profit function, 7.75. Again, wherever I'm going to substitute in, I'd like to put parentheses there so I don't kind of mess it up. And my x equals 2,000. Put it in your handy dandy calculators. 7.75 parenthesis 2,000 minus 400. And my profit $15,100. So, guys, get out there and start selling coffee mugs. Questions? All right, let's do some power functions. This was also kind of a train wreck on your last quiz. In fact, there were quite a few you didn't even attempt this. Okay, I know this is a hard concept. You gotta get through this, okay? Here's my f of x. 7x squared minus 5. Here's my g of x function. 7x minus 21. Okay. Now, there's two different ways to do this, and it depends on if they give you a value for your x or if they just leave the x there. That's the two different ways to do this. If they give you a number, you have to evaluate it, then do the math operation. If they don't give you a value for the x, just use the functions as they are. Okay. So the first one, they are giving us a value for our x. So we have to find that value for x. We got to go substitute it in. And again, I'm going to put parentheses where the x's are. So I have 7 times x squared minus 5. Then I'm going to substitute in negative 2 for x. So negative 2, negative 2. Then I'm going to plug it into the calculator. So I have 7 times negative 2 squared minus 5, and it gives me 23. So the f of negative 2 is 23. Then I have to find the g of 2. Now this time I go to my g function here, and wherever there's an x, I'm putting in parentheses. 7x minus 21. I'm substituting in negative 2 for the x. Then I'm going to go back to my calculator here and put 7 times negative 2 minus 21. And I get negative 35. So I'm going to put that in for my g of negative 2. Then I'm going to put this into my calculator. I have 23 plus a negative 35. Enter. And I get negative 12. All right, next one. I do not have a value for the x, so just use the functions as they are. So I'm going to take the f function, which is 7x squared minus 5. And I'm going to subtract the entire g function. So I'm going to use parentheses. And my g function is 7x minus 21. Okay. Let's scoot this up a little bit. All right, so I have a minus sign in front of parentheses. What do I have to do? That's right, distribute. So I have 7x squared minus 5 minus 7x plus 21. And I only have 2 terms to combine, right? The minus 5 and a plus 21. So I have 7x squared minus 7x plus 16. So that's my answer. 7x squared minus 7x plus 16. All right, next one. I do have values for my x, so I'm going to have to compute first. So I'm going to take my f of x. Wherever there's an x, I'm going to put parentheses equals 7 parentheses squared minus 5. My value for the x is 2, so I'm going to substitute in 2 for my x. Again, I put it in my calculator, let the calculator do the work. So 7, uh-oh. Am I running out of juice? 7 times 2 squared minus 5. I get 23. Then I have to do the g function, right? G of 2. So I'm going to take my g function. 7, here's an x, minus 21. Substitute in 2 for my x. Going to use the calculator again. 7 parenthesis 2 minus 21. I get negative 7.
And you add those together, you get 6.
Yeah, but be careful. We're multiplying, right? We're taking,
Oh, we're taking the last one.
yep, we're taking 23. This time we're multiplying. The g of 2 is negative 7. So 27 times negative 7. I get negative 189. All right, next one. I do not have a value for the x, so I'm going to use the functions exactly the way they are. Okay, it's a division problem. The f function is what?
7x minus 5.
7x squared minus 5. Good. The g function? 7x minus 21. Now, the domain restriction. What can we not have in the denominator of a fraction?
Negative.
We're going to have a negative.
Uh,
Where?
0, right? Can't have a 0 in the denominator. So what we do is we take the denominator here. Yeah, we set it equal to 0, so we figure out what it can't equal. So we take our 7x minus 21, set it equal to 0. We solve for x. So I'm going to add 21 to both sides. So I have 7x equals 21. Then we're going to divide by the 7. So what can x not equal? 3. X cannot equal 3. So we have two answers to this question. We have 3 hours left in this class.
One hell of a marathon from algebra.
And then it's just 3 hours of algebra fun.
You can't even get up to the seats. It's like you get up to the shots.
Every hour is funner than the last hour. All right, I'm going to do this last problem because I'm tired of talking, and I think you guys need a rest too. This is a composite function, right? We're doing a function in a function sort of thing. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is start with the innermost function, which is
G.
g of 2. But we already did that, didn't we?
Yep.
It's negative 7. G of 2 is. So I'm going to substitute it in right there. So I have to figure out the f of negative 7, right?
All right, that's easy.
Yeah, that's not that hard. So all I have to do is the f of negative 7. So I have the f function, which is 7. So I'm going to put an equal sign there. So 7, I'm going to substitute in negative 7 squared minus 5. That negative 7, put in right there. Type it in my handy dandy calculator.
It is 338.
338.
I take that.
Wait, isn't negative 7 times negative 7
Negative 7 squared. Whenever you square a number, it's always going to be positive.
But we're going to see 49 though?
Nope. PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, then multiplication division. You look confused.
But negative 7 squared is 49.
Negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. 49 times 7,
Oh, that's what I forgot to do.
63. 28. 34. And then subtract 5. And we get 338. I only had 1 cup of coffee this morning and I was able to do that. And I didn't even take my Alzheimer's medication. I think we'll stop here. You guys can continue on working, but I'm going to stop. Hmm?